Hey guys, welcome to Toy Shop. Today we're rebuilding the drive shaft on a 1985 Yamaha Moto 4200, and it's the same as some other three-wheelers built in the mid-80s. So let's get at it. This looks like it's got a spanner nut in there. I'm gonna go dump this fluid out. All right, so it looks like I could probably just go in here like this, tap that out. So my mic quit recording right about now, so I'm gonna kind of do a voiceover, but this is a left-handed thread, so make sure you're not trying to do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, because I spent a lot of time dicking around with this, and I don't know how I didn't break it, but as you can see here, lefty or righty-loosey is what's working, so just keep that in mind. And there was this thin shim here that went up against this bearing. All right, so we got the drive shaft here. I need to get this bearing off. So it looks like there's a snap ring here that's all buggered up anyways, so I want to get that off. Okay, so there's no spring pressure on that because I have that worked out of the groove now. I'm gonna try to finish walking it off of there. All right, looks like I gotta pull this one off up here. There's a seal in there. That seal looks crooked as shit. So I got in there and I got the seal out of there. There was like a steel ring around the outside. Got that out of there. It looks like the inside part of the seal is still on this shaft. So we'll have to get that off when we go to tear it apart. Those almost look like super big valve keepers. Okay, so I just put that in the vise and squeezed it. And I've got an 8-inch vise and that was almost all the way out. One of them kind of came loose and fell out. So I'm gonna get that out of there. I'm not sticking my fingers in there because that spring is tight. I have no idea how I'm gonna get that back in there when I go to put it together, but at least we can get it apart. I'll show you when I put it back together how I just did that. That'll be easier. That was super sketch. That opened up a lot. All right, so now we're down to there. This piece should come off, and then we should be able to get the bearing off, hopefully. All right, so the chisel away didn't work. So what I ended up doing was kind of look something sort of like that, and then this was stuck up through here. Ooh, that's spicy. Basically, what I tried at first was putting this in the press and just putting bars underneath the bearing as far as I could get, but the bars were hitting the teeth here. So I stuck this on it backwards so that the teeth kind of set in the thin spot so that I was good and close to the bottom of that bearing race. And then I put this in the press this way and pressed down on it until it popped. It actually took quite a bit of force. It was a little sketchy. That's everything. There's still this race here. I don't know when I want to change that. No, I don't want to get it off yet because I'm going to have to stick this end of the shaft in the vise to squeeze it in order to get these keepers back in it. So I'm going to leave this one in here so I can beat up this and not the end of the shaft, at least for right now. And then when I get this all assembled, then I'll worry about cutting this off. Because worst case scenario, I can take the Dremel and cut this race off. So I'm going to get all this cleaned up and then we're going to start putting it back together. All right, so I was getting all this cleaned up and I looked through my seals in the kit and I realized it did not come with the seal here that went in here that was underneath this plate here. So that was kind of a bad thing. So I started doing a little bit of digging and of course the OEM one is discontinued so I can't buy new seal anymore. So I started doing some researching and I remember this company that used to be fairly local to us. So I Googled them and it's called Erie Tech now. It used to be Erie Bearing. They used to be known for if you had just a random size bearing or seal or something, you would take it to them. They'd get it measured out and then get you the right one. So my game plan is I'm gonna stick a seal that sticks in here and then we'll just kind of rub here because all this needs to do is keep oil from going through it. There's no like twisting motion in here because both of these are splined. So they don't really ride in, like there's no twisting. So really it just needs to kind of hold the oil back. So I think that'll be fine if I tap it into this piece here and then it just kind of rides here on this groove. I think that'll work good. So I measured it and I came up with 1 inch 368 thousandths inside here. And then this shaft here where it's gonna ride measures 825. And then I kind of guessed on the length of the seal. It looks like it's about 200 thousandths. So I got on this website and I converted those measurements all to metric into millimeters. And then I put those dimensions into here, into this website, and I found a seal I think that's gonna work. But I think we're ready to stick this back together. We gotta heat up this inner race of this bearing here so we can get this dropped over. And then I tried this dry too, and this doesn't wanna go over either. So we might have to heat that up too to get it to drop over the shaft. All right, now we're gonna let the bearing sit on top of that. This is the 3/4 inch drive socket because it's really thick around the top. So I just heated that up for a couple minutes till it gets good and hot. I don't even know how hot it is, 300 degrees. I'm gonna let this bearing sit on there. It's mainly touching the inner race. The inner race should be getting good and warm. I'm gonna let that sit there for a little bit. And then what I might do in the meantime is get that shaft squeezed into the vise. So I set the spring thing on top of it too to help get that warmed up. Perfect. That doesn't want to go, so I'm gonna leave that right on there for a minute. Things changing funny colors. It actually looks pretty cool. I don't know why it's not working. We might just have to persuade it now, I guess. My God, I think it's about there. All right, so it's a little spicy still, but I'm gonna kind of send it anyways. And with the spring, and then that, and then this. And then we have to compress it. All right. All right, I think that's far enough. All right, so basically I have this sticking above the vice jaw far enough that I can get in there and actually kind of see what I'm doing. I can get in there with a magnet. And these are more like on rear axles and rear diffs of vehicles. It's kind of what these are, these little clips, but this washer goes on first. So I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this washer, put a little bit of grease on these, and then take a magnet, reach in there and just kind of stick it and go from there. I'm either gonna use a magnet or a screwdriver with grease on it, but we're gonna get that put together. Probably what I should have done first before I did this was take a little bit of grease and kind of pack it in that groove so that when I get these keepers in there close, the grease will kind of stick to it. Keep it away from my face till I get a good look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so that was pretty easy actually. All right, so now we're back down here and there was this spring here. It was kind of up in there, so I'm just gonna kind of goober it up a little bit, grease this up really good. That's in there. So if you guys are doing this at home, you shouldn't have to pull this seal out here, the one that I've ruined and have to replace. And that would be why the kit didn't come with a seal, is because you don't need to screw with the seal in order to replace it. So I cost myself some time, but oh well, I learned. So this now is back to where it was, minus that seal. I ended up calling that place that I showed you guys, and he had a heck of a time finding me one. Near as I can tell, I bought the last two that are in the country / world, and the only other option I had through the guy I went through was to order directly from the manufacturer and order 200 at a time at like 10 bucks a piece, and I don't have $2,000 laying around for one seal. So I ended up getting this. This is 1 millimeter wider than the original, so I'm hoping that doesn't hurt, but I guess we're gonna find out. First I wanna see if it fits on the shaft. That actually feels perfect. That might have actually been the original size. I've got pretty good clearance there on that snap ring, and I'm all the way up against there. Wonder how easy this is gonna be. Oh, okay, well that wasn't anything at all. Perfect, all right. Well, as far as I know, this is the only other seal that is in the United States, I think. Hopefully you can find some. If you find any more, post a link in the comments. But I made notes here. There's a Napa part number you might be able to cross-reference. It's SKF 8305, so maybe that'll help you. But these cost me 12 bucks plus shipping. I bought 2 of them and it ended up being 40 bucks. That's the Napa number. This is the seal number, and it seems to work beautiful. So hopefully yours isn't that bad and you can just grab it and pull it right apart, because that's how it should have been done. All right guys, if this helped, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure you follow along with what we're doing here on the channel. We're going through this Moto 4 top to bottom. We're trying to restore it. I'm learning how to do some zinc plating, and hopefully it turns out pretty sweet. If you want to follow along with that, make sure you hit subscribe and click the notification bell. But until next time, peace.